Hey yo, what's up guys? So today I'm going to be talking about the Amazing Spider-Man number 9. It came out this week. It's part of the X-Men Hellfire Gala story. So this is basically just a continuation of what happened there, which this book actually gives a little recap on those events. So if you didn't care, this book just gives you a small insight on it, which is great. But we also get more goblin suit, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, I'm gonna be spoiling it for sure because I'm just gonna outright talk about the comic. If you haven't read it and you probably want to do that before you listen to me, then yeah, probably do so. Otherwise, without further ado, let's begin. So the story begins with a brief recap of, I guess, the previous events, because this is like a X-Men Hellfire Gala event, so this is a continuation of what happened in Spider-Man's story. What the Hellfire Gala is, how they describe it here, is the biggest event for the mutant nation of Krakoa, and the hottest ticket in the world. Which is kind of weird, because I thought it was supposed to be like a keep-off location, like mutants only kind of deal, but apparently for this event, a good portion of different kinds of people are there. But the way Spider-Man ends up being there is because he got invited by Wolverine. And I noticed this week a lot of the comics just randomly shoehorn in Wolverine, which is kind of weird. It's cool. I dig it if it's done well. My favorite one so far was the Midnight Suns #1. He was pretty great in that, and that's basically a comic that's going to be similar to the adaptation of the game that's coming out. So that's mainly why I picked it up, but I liked the story. It was great. But anyways, yeah, this is Wolverine being in this story. So he gets invited to the Hellfire Gala by Wolverine. He's just enjoying the food there. They show off. They show a brief recap of what happened on the previous story, where yeah, Spider-Man's just walking around trying to socialize, but they show how he's incredibly awkward. Apparently, Mary Jane gets held hostage for her body by this criminal that ends up sneaking in. She uses a portal to go to Paris because apparently that's where the next step of her plan is involved. So here we have some mutants trying to help Spider-Man save Mary Jane. Now this is where I kind of think it's kind of weird. Maybe it's explained somewhere else, but this is just me reading The Amazing Spider-Man. But my understanding is that Mary Jane and Spider-Man really have no connection. But it seems here like they're choosing him to go off and save Mary Jane, unless he somehow volunteered himself because of how he feels for her. Yeah, from my understanding, no one knows there was or is any connection between Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Because even there's this, like, I guess, mind reader that's going through Spider-Man's head, and Spider-Man gives this snarky remark like, hey, you better not have taken a peek at my secret identity. And she just responds with, get over yourself, dude. Like, shut the fuck up. But anyways, Wolverine shows up through the portal and hands Spider-Man his Osborn goblin suit and tells him to get ready for the fight. And then we get a cut to Moira, who's just off being a villain, and MJ's trying to prevent herself from walking so that Moira doesn't advance in her plans. But inevitably, Moira has more reason over MJ to push her through it, and we get a little panel of the X-Men that ended up following her just to know the whereabouts of MJ. And we skip over to Krakoa, where we have this panel where Spider-Man just sees this funny looking mutant and just jokes around with him without acknowledging, him being like, just another living being. Even Wolverine points out, like, dude, that teleporter has a name, by the way. But Spider-Man's just, I don't know, he's treating him kind of like an object, just because he's funny looking. Kind of comes off as him being kind of an asshole, but that's just my interpretation of it. I don't know if that's how it was meant to come out, but that's what it looks like. But anyways, this funny looking dude, he's a teleporter. So they create one right above the city of Paris, where Spider-Man and Wolverine just jump through the portal and start attacking everyone on the other side. And I really like the action here. I like how the colorist ended up coloring in Spider-Man's eyes. There's this one panel where there's a reflection of Wolverine on his eyes, and it just looks really cool. The glow effect was very well done. Then we skip over to Moira. She walks into this cathedral that looks like it's housing her entire body, and it's just this cyborg looking body. So she has MJ walk over it, and as she's approaching the body, we get this huge explosion, and the glass breaks through, and there's a mutant that comes through, and that's the guy that's following MJ just to make sure nothing truly bad happens, I guess. And then he just gets gunned down by her bodyguards. He's just on the ground. They feel like, yeah, they did a good job. She's screaming at him like, you naive little shits. What the hell? Clearly he's a mutant. Maybe his power was to revive. And of course, that's what he does. This is basically just a distraction to lower their guards. And this is when Spider-Man and Wolverine jump in and start messing them up. We get some more cool Spider-Man attacking sequences where he's tossing his shiny balls. And he has his glider, but he's not using his glider, it's just kind of there. And he instantly goes over to MJ to try to help her up, and completely forgets about the hand that's around MJ's neck, which is Moira's hand, of course. The plot was that she wanted to complete her body. The hand was around MJ's neck, and that's how she was moving herself around to take her back to her body, because she had trust issues with people she was working with. But anyways, she ends up completing her entire body. She's pretty badass looking, not gonna lie. Spider-Man jumps in trying to save MJ. It looks like he gets stabbed in the back, but they cut away to the next page, and it's actually Wolverine that jumped in the way of Spider-Man jumping in the way of trying to save MJ. So there's like I'm gonna save you, no, I'm gonna save you sort of situation there. Inevitably, Moira ends up running through her own portal again and just escapes. And this looks like it leads into Axe Judgment Day, which I haven't been following. I kind of don't care. If I followed that, it would make it insanely expensive. I'm just following Spider-Man crap right now. And a few Daredevil, Ghost Rider, but making videos of that just takes way too long. But anyways, then everyone's left there. MJ is saved, Spider-Man's there, or his arm's on her. We have the mutant dude who's just hanging out there, and Wolverine who's just like, yeah, I'm fine by the way, sure I got stabbed, but I'm fine if anyone was asking. Wolverine with his freaking attitude. After this event, Spider-Man and MJ are walking through the New York City gate that leads into Krakow, but, vice versa. They're walking into New York. Just to break the ice, Spider-Man tells MJ, like, yeah, Wolverine's gonna be okay, he heals, and she's like, yeah, I know. Spider-Man just starts wanting to talk to her, but she sort of breaks out like, dude, I can't talk to you. This is where we get a little bit more detail on their relationship, so this issue just adds a tad bit more to what's going on in the story. So it looks like, yeah, she's dating Paul. She claims that it's something about responsibility, but they don't elaborate. And then she roasts Peter, saying that, oh, I thought you'd understand that at most, being that's your gimmick, right? Being Spider-Man, responsibility. But it still leaves more to interpretation of what's happening. Maybe Spider-Man had kids with MJ and then said, F it, I'm gonna go get a pack of cigarettes, BRB. Maybe he just didn't want kids or something like that. And maybe MJ did want kids, and that's what's happening there. I don't know, there's just a lot up to interpretation, but until we get the issue that explains what's happening with them, there's not much to go off by besides our imaginations. But anyways, it was actually a pretty fun issue. I liked it quite a bit. I didn't care much for the Hellfire Gala, as I've said. I don't really know what that is, besides just a mutant kind of party where everyone just hangs out all fancy like. But something bad happened to MJ, so we had Spider-Man deal with it. Spider-Man and Wolverine, because Wolverine's badass, so of course we had to help him in this comic. But it's definitely a great read, so... But I appreciate you guys for listening to me talk about this nerdy shit. If you want to listen to me talk about, more Spider-Man comics, just make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.